So, hey everyone, Happy New Year. It has been a long minute since our last episode. I think we all needed some time to recuperate and rest and take the festive season as a step back from probably one of the biggest years in crypto we've ever seen. But we are back. And for those of you who might be new to the show, my name is Marissa True. I'm joined by my co host, Stu Elms, and this
Hi,
is
everybody.
TezTalks Radio. Yeah, hey, Stu.
Hello.
So yes, and we have Cabline or Ombeline Rossett. She is none other than the curator of Object.com. And so we are going to kick off this year with a topic that continues to be really dear to our hearts, NFTs or non-fungible tokens. So welcome, Ombeline. First of all, how has the year kicked off for you?
Thank you. Well, I started by collecting some NFTs, so it's starting well. And
That's
now I feel that it's
that is a
going to
great
be an
start.
amazing year.
Awesome. So I love the optimism. We've spoken a lot about Object.com as one of Tezos's leading NFT marketplaces. And so this is obviously a place where people can openly list their pieces, their collections, as well as for buyers to start creating their own portfolios of work that they'd like to collect. So tell us a bit more about your role as a curator for Object.com. Like, how did you first venture into this space?
Yeah, so I started by collecting NFTs on Hicketnook, which doesn't exist anymore, but it was a marketplace on Tezos where you could buy NFTs. And I noticed that a lot of artists had difficulties to sell because there are many artists who mint NFTs, and it's difficult to discover them. Some of them were quite popular and already had a lot of Twitter followers, but for others it was more difficult to get noticed. So, and there are a lot of amazing artists. So I started by doing Twitter posts to show the NFTs I got and to make everyone know that there were a lot of artists who were there and who were unnoticed. So I did that for some time, and then Object was created. At first, it was created to create auctions on NFTs from Hicketnook. And I used it at the very beginning for the auction of one by an artist I really like. And it was really fun. And after some time, I was looking for a job, and I actually posted a tweet on Twitter to say I was looking for a job because I was working as a lawyer before, and I was not in the tech industry or the art industry, and and I just tried my chance, my luck. And it worked. So I got hired by Object, and they had noticed the tweets I was doing before, where I was presenting the work of the artist. So I'm continuing to do that. So I'm managing the social media, so the Twitter account and now Instagram account. But I'm also selecting NFTs to be displayed on the front page of Object.com. So these are NFTs from artists that people might not have noticed before. And I'm presenting them. Because for the artists who make a lot of sales, there are already some information on our website. So the goal is to show the other ones.
Very
And
cool.
that's
So,
that's
hi, Umbeline. Happy
hi.
New Year, first off.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you too.
Thank you. So, given that we're now 2022 has officially begun, what trends will you be keeping an eye on in the digital art and NFT space as this year starts to take shape?
I would like to see what kind of music NFTs will be released. Until now, I haven't seen a lot. There have already been some, but I think there is a lot of there is a lot of things which can still be done on the musical side, and I would also follow closely everything relating to games. And yes, for the moment, that's
So are those things that users should be expecting to see on object.com in the year to come?
Well, I can talk about the strategy of the team, but for the music NFTs, we have seen more of them. For instance, recently there were the Ziggurats, which is a collection which was created by Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park. I was very happy because I'm a big fan, and so it was a collectibles project. So you had a picture and at the same time a musical sound, so you could buy it. Well, it was very cool. I can't express it very clearly because of the language barrier, but it was cool. So.
We did see it. We spoke to Mike a few months back, and we took a good look at it. It's a very cool project.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I want to cycle back to one thing you said earlier when you were first introducing yourself and your background, was that I think it's really cool that you came from a traditional law background and now you're the NFT curator for a major marketplace platform. So I think it goes to show that, you know, anyone who really wants to be in this space can. And then in terms of the trends that you're seeing emerge in the collectors or the art space, I think it's really cool that we're kind of evolving and expanding beyond, you know, maybe pixel art or direct collectibles into the more generative sphere. And yeah, exactly as you mentioned, Ziggurats, Mike Shinoda's full-fledged collection, where I think it's 5,000 NFTs, and the fact that it's a generative
Yes.
mixtape, which is a weird nod to the nostalgia of the 90s, early 2000s, when mixtapes were, you know, the thing to get rather than the straightforward album. And the fact that we can now own that as a digital file. I personally own one. I'll declare that, and I'm very excited about having one. I was one of those people who was aggressively trying to click to buy when, you
It
know,
was hard to get one.
it was super hard. I don't know how I lucked out, but I think the sense of it is that 2022 is going to be an even more exciting year than the last, because it's sort of like we're past the initial hurdle of convincing people of the value of this technology, and now we're getting people a bit more enthusiastic into seeing how it can be played with and how it can be interacted with, especially, as you said, into gaming. But when it comes to art specifically, and when it comes to your role as a curator and when you're assessing collections, what are some of the qualities that you actually look out for or that catch your eye when you think to yourself, this is one we, you know, we want to put on our homepage or put on social media? Are there styles that catch your eye in particular, or what is it about a collection that draws you in?
Well, I'm trying to show different art styles. And for instance, photography has been underrepresented on Tezos. So I try to show more photography. I did an exhibition in a Cyber IO gallery. So it's a gallery where you can display your NFTs, and it works with objects. So I'm trying to show different art styles, but usually I look at, well, it's difficult. It depends on the art, really. So I find some art which I find good, and then I discuss with the artists who are artists in that same field to look for advices, to have their opinion. And I'm also looking at the rest of the collection of the artist. So what the artist created maybe on other platforms and outside in the real world as well. So to see, to have more information about the artist, to see, and it's also doing that allows me to avoid copy minters, because if I see a fantastic artwork and then the rest is, well, not so good, then I think that maybe it's not from the artist, and yeah, so
So in that sense, I guess we're seeing a convergence of more traditional art mediums like photography venturing into the crypto space. And I mean, I guess that makes sense given we were just discussing how sound and music are coming into the sphere as well. But then is there something that makes crypto art uniquely crypto art, or is it very much all art forms sort of have their place or can exist in this blockchain world?
well, I feel that NFTs have been a new way to sell art. There is some kind of crypto art which is unique to NFTs, maybe pack works, but in general, I feel that it's just a new way to sell art, and that any kind of art can be can become NFTs, even sculpture. My uncle is a traditional sculptor, for instance, and it doesn't seem adapted to the NFTs format, but actually it is, because I saw some sculptures. You can take photos of your sculptures. You can mint a 3D file of your sculpture or a video, and it works actually. So yes, anything can be an NFT. I even tried with one of my tweets, and I actually made it an NFT, and it
You
worked. But
minted your tweet.
yeah, no, but just one, and it was for zero Tezos, of course. I was not going to but no, it was to try to see how the web, to try to mint one NFT to see how it works. Because I'm telling people how to mint the NFT, so I cannot just advise them without having tried once. But yeah, anything can be an NFT.
So like Marissa said a couple minutes ago, like it seems like we've sort of entered a new phase with NFTs where there's starting to be a little bit more widespread understanding, a little bit more widespread recognition of the value of these things. In your role at curating this kind of art, what kinds of resistance or enthusiasm are you seeing at this stage in the game?
Well, the resistance, I see it from people outside the NFT space, was still very cautious, but it's because NFTs are associated with cryptos, and cryptos are associated with money laundering. And as I consider to be bad for the environment, etc., it's because of how it is portrayed in the media. At least I see how it is portrayed in France. It is slowly changing, but at the moment, especially the people who are the same age as my parents, they are very cautious about this. It seems that there is less resistance when the NFT is sold, and when you can pay with fiat, with euros or dollars, then there is less problems, I feel. But the fact that you pay with cryptos, is a bit is not widely accepted yet, and it also makes things complicated because you need to create a wallet. For us, it's Tezos. So if you are new to cryptos and you are told that you're going to pay in Tezos, it's complicated. One told me he thought it was pesos, which is not the same. So it's complicated, and I need to buy Tezos, then create a wallet, and there
Of
is a
course.
specific vocabulary, so there is a lot of pedagogy to be made. Well, I don't know the correct word in English, but we need to explain to the people who are new to the space how everything works. But at the same time, yes, I can feel that people are extremely enthusiastic about it. The artists who start and notice that they can sell even to people, to people from all around the world. It was possible before to sell to people all around the world, but I feel that NFTs have made it easier. And
Definitely.
yeah, so it is a way to grow your community, and the community, especially on Tezos, is very active and very friendly. I feel that it's also not elitist and very diverse as well.
Yeah.
So at the moment, at least, the space is very nice. So I think that's why the artists in the space are so happy about it. Of course, it's sometimes very hard to sell. When you are a new artist, there are more and more artists coming. So it's more difficult to sell now than it was in March when
Yeah.
yes. So but it's still
Well,
interesting.
I certainly don't think the types of resistance you mentioned, though, those are certainly not unique to France. I think we're seeing those same kind of factors coming into play all over the world, right? From your point of view, do you see more traditional players in the art world, starting to embrace this and become more involved?
It depends what you mean by traditional players. If you mean traditional artists represented by galleries or galleries themselves. So for the traditional artists, I have seen more coming to the space. And I'm really happy about it. We had so when you look at the hot collections, they are not only the collectibles, but also some artists who are represented by galleries and who started creating NFTs. So it's great. For the galleries, I don't see them a lot at the moment, especially the French galleries. I understand that it is complicated from a regulatory point of view.
Do you think that they view this type of art as a threat to their business model?
Well, maybe some of them do. I think if they do, they shouldn't, because actually it's just a new way to sell art that then they would need to get to be part of this. But it's complicated. It's really complicated in France. They have a lot of obligations, and it's a new space, and they need to get adapted to it. For the American galleries, I feel that more of them are already in the space. But it's because NFTs have started a bit earlier than in France, I think. So I think that's why they have already started
So,
at that.
so in that respect, I think based on a few of the points that you've said, we're still dealing with the same hurdles that we were before. So while the enthusiasm has grown and the belief behind NFTs has grown, we're still dealing with the logistical issues surrounding payment and doing it in a way that, your everyday art collector or new art collector is comfortable with. And I think that's definitely one of the things that's going to shape the year ahead for NFTs. But I think the other aspect that you touched upon when it comes to traditional artists getting involved in this world, because exactly as you say, NFTs are a new way of presenting and selling art. I wonder about what the challenges are around the discoverability of new artists in this space? Because on the one hand, if say you're someone with a Banksy level reputation, once you start minting NFTs, all eyes are on you and everyone's going to be paying attention to what you do next, both in the blockchain world and out of it. But then when it comes to emerging artists, what sort of tips and advice would you give about raising awareness of their work so they kind of don't get like swept away with all the enthusiasm of the bigger players? How can these artists build their own names for themselves in a space that's so new?
So I found what worked for new artists is first to give all the information they can on their profile. So I noticed that a lot of new artists don't add the name, or they don't link their Twitter, or they don't have a Twitter account. For instance, there are many artists who have an Instagram account but not a Twitter account, and everything in the world of NFTs happens on Twitter. So that is a first step, even if it can take time to link your Twitter, create your Twitter, and to start tweeting. Yeah, of course, it is very time consuming, but it is necessary. And once they do that, the best way is to interact with the artists who are doing the same kind of art in the community, and to have a look at the collection, and to have a look at the people who collected from them. And the people who collected from them are likely to collect from you as well, because when we like a particular artist, we're so like, it means that we like this art style. So that's usually how it works. There are many artists who have been really helpful with others, even some of them who gave Tezos to artists who were beginning. So it's the spirit of the community is amazing. So that's the best way to start. And my advice would be not to expect a sale during a lot of sales during the first week, because I know that some are discouraged because they're seeing very big sales from artists who are already very popular, and they wonder why they're not doing the same sales, and they think that maybe there is a problem with them, or the NFTs are not for them. But in terms of time, when you look at the traditional art world, if you sell something, like if you make a lot of sales after 1 month, it's amazing. You you don't start doing art and make a big sale after just 1 week. It's just so yeah. Of
So
course,
it's
yeah.
so in that sense, kind of the same traditional digital marketing rules apply, where it's about interacting on platforms where your audience would be, and building a community, and taking a bit of time to invest in building a bit of a brand identity for yourself and for your work, and also interacting and getting involved and getting stuck in, rather than sort of sticking a picture on the internet and expecting everyone to discover it. So in that sense, I think probably the best advice for these artists is don't try reinvent the wheel when it comes to marketing your work. It's just that people will buy and sell in a different way, but that's not to say that they'll discover your work in too different of a way. Then in that sense, like as we see a lot more people buy into this NFT art world, especially around collectibles, I mean, we've already touched on cigarettes. Obviously, Bored Apes are very much still at the top of mind for a lot of brands and celebrities. Like, are there predictions you have for the crypto art world specifically in the year ahead? We've already mentioned that traditional players, or traditional art in terms of photography, sculptures, may take more center stage. Are there
Yes.
other trends that you're seeing that you think are going
So
to unfold?
I think that, but it's my personal opinion, that ones are going to become more important in the year to come. At the moment, I feel that they have not been. People have not bought that many ones. There are some collectors who buy a lot, but I noticed that, so of course the collectibles are very trendy at the moment, and the people who are buying collectibles tell me they are looking for art. So they notice that there is art on the platform, and they are discovering it, and they are getting interested in it. And I see more and more interest for one-ones. So it's great because there are a lot of people who were not traditional art collectors. So they are, thanks to the collectibles, they are getting interested in artists. And at first they buy multiple editions. They get to know the work of the artist, and after a while they want to get a one. So I think there is going to be a rise in the one-ones being bought. I hope so. It's not a financial advice, but
So the notion of owning the original piece is going to sort of come back around as being the real point of value, in the same way that if you own a Mondrian painting, that's because you find value in owning the original rather than owning a print of it, which is, again, one of the main reasons, or one of the main ways people have wrapped their head around this notion of value in this space.
Well, yes, I've heard counter arguments, for instance, that if you buy one, you are building a community a bit less, because if there are multiple editions, if someone buys, if you have 100 editions and you have 100 collectors, of course, the collectors are going to interact and maybe speak about you a bit more, and there is going to be a community around it. But I noticed that there are some artists who just do both. They do multiple editions and they reach a lot of people, and they do one-ones at the
Right.
same time.
So what we're looking at is a slight split between NFT collectibles as sort of being these community building tools that people have in a digital space versus the exclusivity of the art world. So it's sort of like, are you part of the NFT art crypto community, or are you a exclusive collector? And I think that's sort of those are going to be two different ways people interact with this kind of technology. I think it's going to come down to what the personal motive behind it is, because we can't expect every art collector to also want to be as involved in the community and vice versa. Is that fair to say?
Yes, exactly. And well, I have nothing to add.
Okay. Well, in terms of what Marissa's talking about, like, what role do you think that a platform like Object plays when it comes to determining A, how artists mint and market their work, and B, how collectors collect?
Well, for artists, we need to accompany the artists who are beginning, because it's a completely new world, or it's very it's very complicated. So we have this role, and of course to yes, for the emerging artists to display their work, to make it more accessible for the collectors, to increase discoverability. And for the collectors to how would you say in English, listen to the needs, and offer them what they are looking for. So I'm trying to reach to new collectors, and to suggest some different kind of art that they would be interested in. But we have also a roadmap website where both artists and collectors can submit their feature request. So it is a way to listen to the community, and if a collector wants a new feature which would help him to or her to collect more easily or to discover art more easily, they can submit that feature request on the website. So yes.
Do you think that that type of interaction with collectors and artists is important to attracting people to your platform?
Well, for me it is, yes, because it is. We are not an Ethereum platform, so they do not necessarily know how it works, and it's important to just accompany them when they start on Tezos. And the community is particularly strong because it was an art community from the beginning, because Iketnuk was a website where you could find a lot of art. And we display the NFTs from Iketnuk, but we also have new NFTs, but it's the same kind of community. And so the new people who arrive need to understand that there is this community behind them, and it is something which is still not a lot talked about. I noticed when I listen to some Twitter spaces that there is yes, some people who have cryptos, for instance, they started buying NFTs, but they mostly know about Ethereum or Solana, for instance. They don't necessarily know about Tezos. So there is a lot of information that we would need to provide.
So there's still a little bit of a learning curve when it comes to which chains are sort of leading the way when it comes to building these NFT spaces, as well as the fact that how you transact on these chains is going to differ from platform to platform. But then in terms of providing that education, I kind of want to pivot this conversation slightly and more towards your role on Twitter, as I mean, you're well known as Cabline1, I believe, .tez
Yes,
on
yes,
Twitter.
Cabline was not.
And
Yeah.
and a lot of your profile is geared towards profiling different artists that you find and you like, and also providing that education for people who might just be dabbling into this space, or almost intro, like everywhere from introductory level, sorry, to more advanced sort of interactions. So I want to ask how you see yourself in this space as providing all of this information, and then also how you think others sort of like us who are very much believers in this space, who may not be running these platforms but can also use our voices online to help teach people about this sort of stuff.
Yeah, I didn't get the question. Could you please repeat it?
Sure. I was basically asking how you are using your own personal platform to educate others, and how you see other members of this community also being able to do the same, and like what advice you'd give for us to help each other out in here.
Well, I see a lot of people from the Tezos community who help in spaces. They spend a lot of time educating people in spaces. So even when I sleep, I know that 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 people are doing that. On my Twitter, I'm trying to um, show the art that is available on our platform, but also sometimes to give some messages. For instance, what I said about linking the Twitter to the profile. I'm regularly posting messages about tweets about this, because I have some followers, so I know that that it is going to be shared. So that is a way for me to reach people, but I'm also contacting people individually, because not everyone is super active on Twitter, and now I have started contacting people on Instagram, because it's well, yes, for the people who don't have a Twitter account.
So we're sort of coming to the end of the interview here. Is there anything else that you would like to tell our viewers about what you're working on over at object.com at the moment?
Else, well, I don't know what I can say exactly, but I'm working on some exhibitions at the moment. So on several exhibitions on different galleries. I am going to do thematic exhibitions to show different kinds of art. And I'm also creating a space in AR with NFTs from objects. So this is currently what I'm working on.
Sounds awesome.
Yes, I'm looking forward to also organizing exhibitions of NFTs in physical spaces. So it's yes, 2022 is going to be very interesting.
So
for me.
a lot for us to watch out for as the
Yes.
year carries on. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, this was a wonderful interview. I think we covered a lot of ground from your personal crypto journey, some of the trends that you're seeing in the space, how traditional and emerging artists can get involved. I think it was a great introduction to those who might still be new on the artist end of the spectrum of how they can get involved into the NFT world. And obviously, we're all biased. We all want it to happen on Tezos and we all want it to happen on object.com. So, to anyone listening, if they want to reach out to you, where can they find you directly?
So they can just contact me on Twitter on Cabline1, Cabline1, or on object.com if they have any questions. And on Discord as well. We have a Discord, and you can find it on our website. So even on Instagram. So you have the choice.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much again, Ombeline, and hopefully this won't be our last chat. And have a great
Thank you.
year ahead.
Thank you. You too.